Trust Once Lost. Chapter 29. Cheer up, Green. Applejack woke me when it was time for dinner. I was confused as to where I was for a moment before I realized that she must have somehow transferred me into my own bed without waking me. The ache in my horn had mostly faded, though the fatigue and a general sense of queasiness remained. Thankfully this time I didn't throw up on Applejack like I had at the hospital. Applejack saw I was having some difficulty walking down the stairs with my only mostly healed foreleg, and rather than argue, I just let her carry me down the rest of the way. It wasn't until I smelled dinner that I realized how hungry I was, and that I had slept through lunch. Dinner was roasted vegetables with some kind of apple-based glaze. I was more focused on shoveling it into my mouth than I was tasting it. I ate 3 servings before my body finally signaled that I was full.
Green?
Said Applejack.
About what happened at school today.
My tired brain didn't have the tact to suppress an audible groan.
You don't have to talk about it right now.
She continued.
I just want you to know that I'm sorry for being dismissive when you said you were worried about school.
I could tell that Applejack had spoken to someone about me. A therapist, maybe? The lines sounded rehearsed, and the wording was a bit off for how Applejack normally spoke.
It's not your fault.
I said.
I just lost control. I know I'm making things difficult. Oh, sweet pea, I don't want you to be worrying about that.
Applejack moved forward and gave me a hug. Her coat was soft.
I'm so good at worrying, though.
I said sarcastically.
What do you think a cutie mark in anxiety would look like? It may not seem like it now, but it'll get better. I promise. No, it won't. I believe you.
I said. Applejack could tell I was lying, and she just hugged me tighter. When I got back upstairs, I just crashed on my bed. Everything was so tiring. Applejack was trying so hard, and I was just screwing it up for her, over and over. I woke before sunrise again. This time it felt like it was still the middle of the night, which I guess made sense since I'd napped during the day. I didn't want to get up in case I woke someone else in the house. But I felt wide awake and couldn't go back to sleep. It wasn't pitch black outside thanks to the oversized moon, but there was no trace of blue on the horizon to indicate an approaching sunrise. I didn't have a clock in my room, which was irksome. After years of shift work, I lived by the clock. I could be waking up or going to sleep at any hour of the day. Not something I had to worry about anymore, but it was still a comfortable routine to wake and check the time. I stretched out my limbs, and it felt almost wrong that they didn't ache. Unable to sleep or get up, I was stuck with my thoughts. In a few hours, I was going to have to go to school again. There was no real point trying to convince AJ to let me stay home. It was her job to make sure I went to school, so trying to convince her to not force me to go was just going to make her feel bad. Or worse. If I was successful, I'd get her into trouble. Applejack was honest to a fault, so she was definitely going to tell them about the soap incident. And I'd be lucky if they didn't take me away just for that. I couldn't let them take advantage of Applejack's overly open and trusting nature. It wasn't that I was particularly attached to this placement, but Applejack clearly was. And I felt like if I got taken away, it would destroy her. So I had to go to school. It's not like it would kill me, it'll just make me wish I were dead. Jokingly. Probably. Hopefully. I felt like I needed to get up and pace around, but clip-clopping around on the hardwood floor was going to wake everyone up. I also wanted to avoid seeing Granny this morning. After what happened last time, it was just going to be awkward. When I finally heard the hoofsteps of every pony else walking around, the sun was already peeking over the horizon. As awake as I'd felt a couple of hours ago, now I felt tired. With no one else around, I allowed my shoulders to slump as I trudged my way to the bathroom to start my morning. When I passed through my bedroom door, I made an effort to look less despondent in case any pony saw me. I even put a slight smile on my face, which should, in theory, make me feel happier. It didn't work so well when I was breathing past the tightness in my chest.
Good morning, Green.
Said Applejack.
Did you sleep all right?
She sounded tired. Did she have trouble sleeping because she was worrying about me? I felt my anxiety rising. I took a deep breath and felt the floor under my hooves. 4 points touching the floor, anchoring me. I was being stupid. She was tired because it was early morning and she just woke up. No reason to think that had anything to do with me. And yet, I couldn't rule it out either. If I asked her about it, she would just lie to save my feelings. No, wait, this was Applejack. So she wouldn't lie, would she?
I'm fine.
I said.
This is a dumb question, and I... Were you having trouble sleeping because you're worrying about me? Oh, sweet pea, you don't have to worry about me none,
said Applejack.
I do feel concerned for you, but I slept just fine.
Even though this was the elements of honesty, I still had a hard time trusting she was telling the truth. I knew I would never tell her the truth if our situations were reversed, but I still feel a bit better. Now, I just had to get through another day of school.
Oh, cheer up, darling,
said Applejack.
You don't have to go to school today. Damn it, this is what I was afraid of. I'm fine, really.
I said.
I can go to school. I'm real sorry about what I said yesterday.
Applejack said.
I didn't mean to make it sound like you were gonna be kicked out of this home for missing school. It's not up to you, though, is it?
I said glumly.
If Full Services find out that you're letting me miss school, then you'll get in trouble, and they won't let you take care of me anymore. I spoke with Dayglow yesterday, and your teacher. We all think it would be a good idea for you to have some time off to settle in.
AJ explained.
No pony is gonna get in trouble. Oh.
I sat down, right in the middle of the hallway. I should have felt relieved, but I just couldn't relax. Something was going to go wrong. I felt it in the back of my neck. I hadn't predicted this, which meant I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what, but something was going to go wrong. I'd been prepared for going to school, but now? The only warning I had was a widening of Applejack's eyes, as she reacted to something behind me.
No,
she said, just as I was knocked to the floor. I felt hot breath on my face and opened my eyes to see a set of fangs, followed by a rough pink tongue that licked at my face.
Winona!
Commanded Applejack.
Heel!
There were tears streaming down my face, but they were tears of relief. I reached out and hugged the dog. She initially struggled against my grip to obey her master's command, but then she gave in and just licked my ear. Winona was at least as tall as I was, maybe a little taller, but she was rail thin, so I had the clear weight and strength advantage. I released her from the hug, and she looked at AJ for a moment as if waiting for a command. When Applejack just smiled at her, she turned back to me and bowed down with her front legs, wagging her tail as she invited me to play. I wish I had a tennis ball or something to throw for her. Winona's boundless enthusiasm was infectious, and I actually found myself grinning as she sniffed around me and allowed herself to be pet. The novelty of having a dog as big as me made me giggle.
Well, that's not the way I planned to introduce you to,
said Applejack.
But I'd say you're gonna get along just fine.
I actually did not expect that. I'll be honest, I completely forgot that dog existed. But anyways, let's get on to our fluffy donators. Top donators are 630, BadassWaffle, Only One Thing, Ceru, Orion, IronSky, and Jessie Smith. Match for Kona 9, JockeTF, Darkside, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Pastel, Sky, Austin, Rollins, Stu, Hextor, Brother, Mortar, Domrica, Library, Rinside, 9852, Will, Chris, Twinkie, Rice, Shot, Luigi, 88, Chancellor, Rest, Speak Smoke, 369, Bobcat, GGF, Murder, Princess, and many more awesome people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.